What's going on, you audio sleuths? Welcome back to another video. Just thought I would talk about the 737 Avalon plugin. I'm really familiar and pretty much know the 737 like the back of my hand. It's just a really solid channel strip in my opinion, and I think UAD did a pretty good job making sure that it feels like the hardware, making sure all the knobs turn the same. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I know it's weird to say because it's a plugin and you can't like physically feel it, but when you're moving the knobs and stuff with your mouse, it like weirdly feels like it's kind of like the tube tech. Like, if you've ever used the real tube tech, you know that the plugin is pretty much spot on. Like, it's super delicate and super touchy, and it's not stepped or anything, so it's very difficult to recall. Just to be clear, the distortion is intentional. I'm kind of working on a distorted sound that was requested by the artist. So the first thing I did is I kind of made this preset that is basically using the mic level, because obviously using it, quote unquote, if we're using this as a hardware insert, it would be in line level. And obviously when you pull up the plugin initially, it shows up in line mode basically. But in this case, I kind of wanted to treat it like if I were recording the vocal through it. And I think I mentioned this actually in my last video. If you haven't seen it, I talk about using mic level versus line level. I really like the idea of messing between mic and line level, because you're going to get two different sounds, two different saturations out of these preamp boxes. I put it in mic level. Obviously, you're going to get some gain out of it, so I kind of matched it with the output, and then I saved it, at least as close as I can get. I mean, it's pretty spot on in my opinion. And then I just saved it as a preset mic level, so I know that essentially the input and the output are leveled, whatever, as close as possible. The first thing I would do, this was kind of like my go-to-ish setting when I'm tracking. Like I said, obviously it's going to depend on the type of music, it's going to depend on the artist and stuff, but generally this is like the ballpark that I was in. Basically this would be like your ratio, so like a 4-to-1. The threshold, I always like to record like a little bit hot. I know a popular setting with this, and I try to avoid as much as possible because this unit can saturate very easily. But as far as the hardware unit goes, there you can see that there's a high gain mode. Basically, usually this preamp in real world experience, you're cranking this preamp a lot on this unit. This is a very quiet preamp. At least from my experience, all the years that I've used it, it's very quiet. So you would definitely have to get, you can't get away with just having the preamp at unity. You definitely have to give it some gain. That's where this button comes in handy. But you will get, in my opinion, a little bit more saturation out of it. I can't remember how many dBs of gain this adds, but it adds a very fair amount where you have to back off the actual preamp knob right here. But I tried much as possible when I would track not to have to use this. So next is filter. I do like the filter on the Avalon. Weirdly enough, like a lot of studios have these for some reason, like the filters always seem to not filter. So preamp, compression, filter, EQ. I mentioned that a solid state microphone, specifically the U87, was my go-to combination with this if I had the opportunity, which 90% of the time I had the opportunity to do it. But what the only thing is that specifically when I would work on like rap or hip hop, the most requested microphone was the C800, and we only had one at the studio, and it was like always used. So basically what I came up with when it was requested, or if I knew that there was a reoccurring artist that would come that would use it, and they kind of knew the deal, like it was kind of first come first serve situation. I would just take the U87, and then I would just crank 32K on the treble, and I would honestly sometimes I would get up to like between, I don't know what, 6 and 12 is, that like 10, I don't know, just guessing, but it would be between 6 and 12, and that would like mimic and like I said, depends on the artist too. But that would be pretty close to a C100, and a lot of artists would be satisfied with that and would be like, damn, this mic sounds good. I'm adding a little bit of 1K. I guess that's 3 dB, I don't know. Then I cut a little bit of 250 out, just a hair. Kind of this, honestly, similar pretty much setting that I would do when I was tracking. I would use, or cut out a little bit of 250. 150, I just felt like I didn't need to. But like I said, if I were tracking, I would cut out a little bit of 150. And just to say all this too, like, to be honest, like there was like, I was used to the rooms. I knew what they sounded like. I knew what the microphone sounded like. And you know, that's going to play a huge part too. Like these settings may not work for you. I think this EQ sounds really good. It's super expensive sounding. Whoops, gotta you know, slice this in the video real quick. I almost forgot to show an example of it. So here's with it. And I'm gonna keep everything on because, like I said, I want to show what this plugin is adding to the vocal versus what it would do just on its own, because that isn't my intention when using this. I'm kind of, like I said, I really like the EQ. I like that I'm able to add instead of subtract like I'm used to doing with this on the way in, and being able to add with the EQ is so much nicer, and being able to add compression instead of having to focus on making sure that I'm not compressing too much but enough. Here's with it on, and then whatever, I'll do it in real time. Bullshit.
Ooh, it's a wrap now. Giving up everything that I was mad about. Ooh, it's a trap now. Try to shut me down and leave me in the background. Ooh, it's a wrap now. Giving up everything that I was mad about. Ooh, it's a trap now. Try to shut me down and leave me in the background. Ooh, it's a wrap now. Giving up everything that I was mad about. Ooh, it's a trap now. Try to shut me down and leave me in the background. Ooh.
So you can hear, obviously, like I said, I'm in the middle of mixing this, but you can hear that it's, you know, it's on the edge of a little too bright, I guess. But like I said, that's also part of the distortion and everything. But it's like really opening the vocal and making it sound expensive, even though there is distortion that's intentional. It's still sounding expensive, and it's still bringing something that I really like, especially the compressor. I don't know like what goes on, or if there's anything, if they're just like, if they're making anything special with their compressor, but the compressor, just the way it compresses and holds on, it's almost like an LA2A if it was made today, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's the only way I can explain it. But then it also has like a hint of the Tube Tech. It's, I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. It sounds really good though, and the EQ obviously doing its thing, adding a lot of that air in the vocal. Before, you know, before it sounds fine or whatever, kind of, it almost actually does sound like something's missing. Like it literally sounds like the vocal's a little bit dead tonally. And when I bring this back in, it kind of really brings its life, which I really like. But like I said, it's kind of cool that they're making these plugins, because we're so used to just having another Neve, having another SSL, another API. But there's not a whole lot of these like 737s. Obviously, they have the Manly and stuff, but I mean, yeah, I guess there's not really that many popular channel strips like this out there. But you know, there's a few out there that still aren't plugins, and it's kind of cool to see these like, you know, quick channel strips that were made for a certain purpose, like vocals and stuff, be turned into plugins, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so I don't know. Take this information how you will. Hopefully it helps somebody. Hopefully it gives you a better direction on where to start with this plugin. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Like, share, comment. Please watch my other videos. For some reason, YouTube is like, I don't know. I feel like they're trolling me right now. They're like not pushing my content like it used to be, like literally. So, you know, you can see that my last couple videos didn't do too well or whatever, and which sucks, because there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of good information, especially on the last one I put out. Really the last two, but specifically the last one before this video, as of this video. You know, go show that video some love. And there's a really lot of good information. And I mean, it's just me breaking down some mixing and stuff. And if you're a Pro Tools user, you'll benefit from that video. But anyways, glad you're here. Glad you made it this far. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.